Okay, let me set the record straight and be totally clear and honest with everyone about this when I say that I was one of those people. When The Last of Us 2 launched on the PlayStation 4 on June 19, 2020, after several setbacks and delays, I was there with the angry mob of people. I was ready with my torches, I had my pitchfork sharpened, ready to boycott the ever-living shit out of this game. I saw what happened, I saw the leaks, and I was nothing more than a stubborn 19-year-old kid who didn't give a shit about the rest of the game and only cared about a singular incident that happens 2 hours into a 25-hour campaign experience. This is not a video I normally do, but since this is my channel and I can quite literally do whatever the hell I want on here, I'm here making a video essay on a game that's already 2 years old. A game that has severely impacted me on so many different levels. Positive and negative, happy and sad, everything. The Last of Us is a game franchise near and dear to my heart, and one of the best single-player experiences I've ever had of all time. This video is going to express my opinion on why I not only think The Last of Us 2 is overhated, but I think The Last of Us 2 was a better sequel than we give it credit for. A couple summers ago, I released a video on what I would do if Bully 2 by Rockstar Games was given to me for complete creative control, and I talked about the leaks that had come out surrounding The Last of Us 2. However, I fully admit that I had not seen a single sentence, photo, or video when it came to the leaks at the time. The only thing I saw was that whatever those leaks were, they divided the fanbase right down the fucking middle symmetrically. But anyone that knows me knows that I'm kind of an internet guy. I go on the internet probably an unhealthy amount, and I tend to go on Reddit and Twitter, so at some point, avoiding The Last of Us 2 leaks was just not an option that I had. I saw the leaks, I saw the details, I saw pictures, I saw a video of the opening cutscene with Joel and Tommy riding back to Jackson on horseback. I knew what happened. I saw what I saw, and I'll be honest, I was pissed. I was livid. I was at a loss for words when I saw my third favorite video game character killed, brutally beaten to death by a golf club held by strong women. I don't own a PS4. I watched that entire first 2 hours on YouTube, and when I saw that sweet, innocent father and father figure beaten to death, I couldn't bring myself to watch the rest of the game. I looked at so many reviews online and saw that everyone and their mother gave this game a perfect score, 10 out of 10. Were they blind? Did they actually sit and play the same game that I saw? How on earth was this game ever a perfect 10 out of 10? Now granted, looking back now, is this game a 10 out of 10? No, absolutely not. Don't get it twisted. This game is great. It's amazing. It's almost a masterpiece, but is this game along the lines of Last of Us 1? No, not in my opinion. Is this game on the same level as something like Red Dead Redemption 2? Not by a mile. But it shouldn't get the hate that it does. The thing that I can definitely say for sure about this game is that it knew what it wanted to be, whether people hated it or not. It's one of the many beauties about this game. After all those reviews, and after I shit-talked the game to most of my friends, joined hateful comment sections talking about this game being a misfire, I gave myself some time to really get over those feelings before I saw more and more praise for Naughty Dog's sequel. And about a month or two later, I did the unthinkable. I watched through the entire game. I looked at the story with an open mind, with open eyes. I gave it a chance. And to be honest, the first time, I still didn't love it. I had a lot more respect this time around, and I saw a lot of the glory that Neil Druckmann and company put into this project, but it still didn't do a whole lot for me. Nothing really clicked. Then I got to the ending. Ellie faces off against Abby for killing Joel. They fight in what I now consider to be the best fight sequence in any video game. I don't give a shit, fight me. And Ellie lets Abby live. After everything, Abby is left alive for killing Joel. And let me tell you something. After I saw Lev and Abby venture off into the foggy mist across the water of the beach and live, I was more pissed at that moment than I was when I saw Joel's bloody caved-in head. Not only did they kill Joel, but they left the woman who killed him alive? What the fuck, Naughty Dog? Why? I had to calm myself down, but I couldn't. Has Naughty Dog lost touch with their ways? Was this the unfortunate end to perhaps one of the greatest companies in gaming of all time? No. It wasn't. Like I said, one of the many beautiful things about this game is that Naughty Dog took gigantic risks, knowing that some people were not going to be pleased, and that's okay. You can't please everybody. You cannot please everybody. I came back level-headed and watched the game entirely again. In fact, since release, I've sat through and watched the game about 6 to 7 times, the entirety. Those first 2 times were quite rough. I hated the death of Joel, and I hated the ending, and then I didn't. That's why I love this game. After rewatching it, I suddenly wasn't mad that Joel died. I wasn't mad that Abby lived. And every time I sit and watch it, I love it more and more every time. This game shows the grim and bitter side to humanity in some ways better than the first game. It shows how reality can be damaging, but we have to move on, and one big compliment I have for this story is its understanding of consequence. The importance of consequence. There are a million assholes and dicks that will criticize this game or anything in pop culture for that matter because it's realisticness. Consequences are realistic. Consequences hurt. They make and shape us into the human beings that we are. They have an impact on us, good or bad. Everything Ellie does in this game comes with heavy consequences. Everything Abby does in this game comes with heavy consequences, and goddammit, everything Joel ever did in that first game came with serious fucking consequence. And those consequences we witness all throughout The Last of Us 2 really make it easy for me to consider this game a treasure. So here I stand with bright eyes, a love for gaming, a love for characterization, and a love for The Last of Us Part 2. I fully see and understand the art that Naughty Dog put into this incredible journey. Alright, I think it's time we come to the reason why everyone wanted this game off store shelves. The reason why lonely nerds such as myself were bitching and complaining more than the people who hated Cyberpunk at release. Joel Miller. I mentioned him being my third favorite video game character behind Ellie at number 2 and Arthur from Red Dead at number 1, but before Last of Us 2 came out, Joel was at number 2, and before Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, Joel was without a doubt my number 1 favorite video game character of all time. I dressed up as Joel in 7th grade for Halloween with Eric, my friend, Semper Films, who was Connor Kenway from Assassin's Creed 3. Joel was everything that I wanted to see in a character of that stature and then some. The most realistic take I'd ever seen on someone surviving and living through the shittiest world that had ever been thrown at them. The best characters are the characters with flaws, great character progression and writing. If a character isn't flawed, are they even really a character? A good one, at least? Joel has a lot of flaws, but I think we can all agree that the main one to start with is the simple fact that he cannot get over the tragic loss of his daughter. His real daughter, Texas-born Sarah Miller, who was shot by a member of the United States military. 20 years later, he's assigned to smuggle some girl across the country who, by the way, just so happens to be the cure for humanity. This bond that you see develop over the span of the first game between 14-year-old Ellie and 50-something-year-old Joel is a sight to behold. It makes us empathize with these characters. Every block on the road, every flaw in their plan is felt because we care about these characters. Naughty Dog made us care about these characters. Naughty Dog really made us feel like we were walking right alongside these two for the entirety of that first game, and I've noticed that every action that Joel makes in that first game is something that we never fault him for at first. Maybe if we take time to sit and think about what he did, we might have differing opinions, but when Tess reveals she's bitten and tells Joel to take Ellie to Tommy's, but Joel wants to stay and fight with her, we, as the audience playing the game, want to stay and fight with Joel, Ellie, and Tess. When Joel tortures the man working for the cannibal trying to find answers as to where Ellie is, we root for him. We want him to torture this random man who's just following orders. Which brings us to the end of the game. Joel takes Ellie to Salt Lake City, where he is met with the arrival of Marlene, who tells Joel that Ellie's being prepped for surgery to help create a vaccine to save humanity. The only problem is, Ellie has to die for that goal to be achieved. A lot of people may disagree with me on this, but I was with Joel 100% in doing whatever needed to be done to save Ellie. Call me stupid, call me a dumbass, call me a murderer, call me selfish, whatever you want to call me. The shitty situation Joel was given took away his daughter 20 years ago. The world took everything from Joel, and now it was Joel's turn to take everything from the world. A possible cure, a chance at reversing the damnation brought onto us by this incredibly devised world. Maybe part of it stems from the fact that I was 12 years old when the first game came out and I didn't know any better, but I didn't care about the people working on the vaccine that may or may not work. I didn't care about the Fireflies, I didn't care about Marlene, I didn't care about all the idiots who would refuse the vaccine anyway, had it been made. I cared about Joel and Ellie. As long as I had Joel and Ellie, I was fine, but there was a chance that one of them wasn't going to make it out alive, and I had to prevent that at any cost. We, as players, had to make sure that that never happened. They live on. They both make it out alive, and we don't get a sequel for another 7 whole years. Then, it happens. December 3rd, 2016, the gaming world is in for a shock and a surprise when Naughty Dog announces The Last of Us Part 2. We see a short teaser with Ellie strumming away at her guitar while Ashley Johnson kills it, singing Through the Valley. Joel walks in and Ellie makes a promise that she will not stop until every last one of them is dead. The audience goes ballistic, but I can't help but be left with so many questions. How long is this game after the first one? Does Ellie know about Joel's lie? For certain, at least? Who does Ellie want to kill, and why does she want to kill them? These questions, believe it or not, would not be fully answered for 3.5 years. Myself and a whole lot of others who had the same questions or different questions waited nearly 4 years to finally get an answer. But something happened before release. Something that wasn't supposed to happen. Something that ruined a chunk of things for a lot of people, myself included at the time. The game's plot leaked onto the internet. I myself only heard about what happened, but of course, at the time, I didn't give in. I chose to stay away from those leaks because I didn't want my experience to be tarnished. I waited 3 years to get my questions answered. I had no issue waiting a couple more months. But, as we know, avoiding the leaks was a pleasure I didn't get to keep for a long time. I've already told you about the fact that Joel's death left a sour taste in my mouth for a while, but let me tell you what really brought me back around to this game. What really made me want to rewatch it several times and really get a feel for the story, the characters, the new characters, the old characters. After a couple viewings, I finally realized that Joel's death was necessary for the story to progress. And look, I know that's not what a lot of you want to hear right now, but it's my own opinion. It's the truth in my eyes. Joel's flaws make him a beautiful character. His flaws are the reason we fell in love with him in the first place. A man who lost everything in his life, who was given a job with Ellie, in the process doomed humanity due to his own selfishness. But those flaws turned into abrasive actions, which ultimately caused severe consequence. The consequence being Joel's death. You have to understand, Joel was never going to make it out of this series alive. The proof is in the pudding on that one. After playing through the first game, everyone should have known that Joel's story would never have concluded with a happy ending of any nature. Joel did what he had to do to save his second chance at a daughter, but with it came nightmares, anxiety, and trauma for Abby, and for her group in a way too. So much so that to stop those nightmares, to stop that trauma, Abby took matters into her own hands by doing what she did to Joel. And I get it, man, you love Joel, I love Joel, we all love Joel, and it hurts to see something we love taken away from us, especially in such a gruesome, grotesque way. But if you look at it from another person's view, they didn't see what we saw. Abby didn't know that Joel was a loving father who lost his daughter, lost his partner, lost 2 brothers who were just trying to survive. And she sure didn't know how much he meant to Ellie, what he stood for to the people of Jackson. All she knew was that he was a monster that killed her father, and just like we as an audience didn't know who Abby was at the beginning of the game, we only saw her as a monster that beat this man we've grown to love and care for to a bloody pulp. That's what's so important about this game. Not just realization and growth to what a story can be, or what characters can be, or what they're capable of, but the sense of consequence, the power of perspective. An argument can be made that the game's portrayal of perspective is thicker than its realization of consequence. I said earlier that the game split the fanbase right down the middle, and it shows. Hell, you can go on YouTube right now and see a side that loves the game for all that it brought to the table, and see the other side refuse to play it, refuse to buy it, or play it and shit on it because they don't like Abby, or they're mad that they killed Joel. Both sides have a right to like and dislike whatever they want. It's all a matter of opinion. However, one must sit here and wonder why these two sides see the game completely differently. What makes someone look at The Last of Us Part 2 and get a completely different feeling from the experience than someone else? That's the power of storytelling and characterization, in my opinion. A lot to do with it is the perspective of the characters. The Last of Us series up until this point deals with perspective better than most modern bits of media. The game, the characters, the story wouldn't work if we didn't see, we didn't feel, we didn't empathize with these characters' perspectives. And I think that's why a lot of people still hate it. They only see it through the perspective they want to see it through. When I witnessed Abby kill Joel, I hated her. Point blank, I said, fuck you, this fucking big strong bitch, and I refused to watch the rest of the game. But as I watched more, as I got to the turning point where we got to see a younger Abby interacting with her father Jerry and Owen, and we see that reveal that Jerry was the surgeon that was there to help create a vaccine by performing surgery on Ellie, it all clicked, man. I still didn't love Abby at that point, but I saw her reasoning. I saw what was going to happen. Abby's father dies at the hands of a selfish, genocidal man who took the possible cure for humanity. I saw Abby's perspective, and that's the thing that people don't like about this game. They didn't care about Abby's perspective. They didn't want to care about Abby's perspective. They were also focused on her killing Joel, that after that, she was irredeemable in their eyes, and that's okay. You don't have to like all the characters, trust me. I was right there with them when I first saw the game. The thing I don't get, however, is that the same people that hated the character attacked and sent threatening messages to perhaps one of the best video game actresses of all time. If you want to blame anyone for not liking the story, blame the writers, not the actors. But there's still no reason to send those kinds of messages. But hey, I've come to realize it's just the world we live in. The perspective also shows with Joel as well. The perspective that his choice to save Ellie was a dumb decision that unfortunately may have jeopardized humanity's last chance. Or the perspective that the cure might not have worked in the first place, and if it did, what if it fell into the wrong hands? Humanity can be so cruel sometimes, and we don't need a video game to remind us of all the shitty things that we see in the real world. It's all up to our own view of things, and no matter how much we see everything around Abby fall apart, people will still not like her. Put yourself in her shoes though. Get to see what she sees for what it truly is. Abby's perspective is that she wants to kill the man that killed her dad. The end. Ellie's perspective is that this random woman killed my father essentially, and she needs to pay for what she did. There's a lot more to Ellie's than what I just mentioned, but we'll get there in a bit. Apart from that, the perspective keeps getting added on when you think about all the shit that happens between the two characters. Jesse's death, Manny's death, Owen and Mel's death, Dina and Tommy getting severely injured, etc. It's a vicious cycle. A cycle that had to be broken. Besides Joel's death, the other bit of controversy surrounding this game was its ending. The game itself divided the fanbase, but the ending gave new meaning to the division of a fanbase. And you know what's coming. I've talked about my own experiences watching this game thus far, and it won't stop now. The ending was worse than Joel's death upon my first watch. Ellie finds Abby, lets her down, lets her escape with Lev, and as Ellie lowers her backpack into her boat, I thought to myself, don't tell me this is how it ends. Don't tell me we've come all the way here, beaten, bruised, stabbed by a tree branch, starving, and fucked up, only to let Tiger Woods escape into the foggy mist. Don't end here, until we see a quick glimpse of Joel's dead body with swollen eyes, bruises, and a caved-in skull. Ellie tells Abby she cannot let her leave, and it all makes sense. It clicks. The teaser got us ready for this fight, the very first teaser.
I'm gonna find, and I'm gonna kill every last one of them.
And the moment we've all waited for comes to a head when we play, perhaps, dare I say, one of, if not the best fight in video game history. So much tension built between these two characters. So much tension written between these two characters. We know their stories. We all have our rooting interest, whether it's Ellie or Abby or no one. What if there was no fight at all? Of course, at the time, Ellie was my girl. She had to win because Joel lost, because Tommy lost. It was time for Ellie to finally win. And as Ellie beats the ever-living shit out of Abby, going as far as to hold her underwater with 2 missing fingers, the somber music starts to kick in. I screamed yes, repeatedly loud as I could, awaiting Abby's movements to stop, and for Ellie to let go of her throat, realizing she had succumbed to drowning. A quick flash of Joel gets Ellie to stop what she's doing and let Abby free. Abby doesn't die, Abby lives. Abby escapes. I was furious at the time, but upon my several rewatches, I'm glad Abby lives. I'm happy she gets to survive and escape with Lev, not just for Abby's sake, but for Ellie's sanity. As you play the story after Abby kills Jesse and shoots Tommy's eye out, it becomes plain as day and obvious that Ellie suffers from severe PTSD. It's almost in your face during the farm sequence with Dina and baby JJ. Before the usually selfless Ellie makes the selfish decision to leave Dina and JJ to go after Abby, she tells Dina that she hasn't been sleeping or eating, and it's clear throughout the story. Her night terrors, her waking up abruptly, the sudden loss of weight we see that she has at the end of the game, the flashbacks, all the killings crashing on top of her. Every person that she kills, tortures, and hurts, she's killing, torturing, and hurting a part of herself. She herself had to go after Abby. Because she thought it would fix her issues, thinking it would bring back Joel. But it couldn't. It didn't. And that's why she lets Abby go. She wants to break the cycle because she knows that it won't end otherwise, and she knows Joel isn't coming back. She knows Joel is gone. Not only does she know he's gone, she's at peace with the fact that he's gone, and he'll never be back. At peace with the fact that she never got the proper chance to forgive him for all that he had done. And at peace with finally letting Abby go. Ellie lost herself after Joel's death. She lost everything as the story progresses, and we see it full throttle. Ellie losing her humanity after Joel's death really mirrors Joel's life after losing Sarah. Joel and Ellie have their similarities shown to us on a silver platter by Naughty Dog in the best way possible. Everyone knew that Joel needed Ellie to live, but The Last of Us Part 2 showed us that Ellie needed Joel just as much. Is it a perfect ending? No, but then again, nothing has a perfect ending. It may not be perfect. You may not like it on your first viewing, but let it resonate. It's the open, the uncomfortable, and the unexpected endings that you learn to somehow eventually respect. Some might find the ending vague or unsatisfying, but somehow to me, the ending we got makes it deeper, more touching, and definitely more emotional. It's thought-provoking, it's simple, it's painful, emotional, and somehow relieving. I'm not here to change anyone's opinions on a game that's already 2 years old. Everyone who knows about the story has already made up their decision on how they see the game, and I've learned a long time ago that you can't change people's minds on anything. Nothing. All I can hope for is that the people that hate the game eventually come back to it, whether it be next week or 20 years from now. Hopefully you can see the beauty brought to us by one of video games' best developers and see the differences in the characters themselves and the perspectives, and hopefully come to the conclusion that The Last of Us 2 is a treasure.